This is our Unit 8 Quiz 1 review on circles. Number 1, we're going to find the exact circumference. Well, the circumference formula, there's two of them. We're going to use the one that deals with radius. Circumference equals 2 pi r. So if our r value is 8, we're going to say that the exact value, the exact means use the pi. We would say feet are our units. Find the circumference to the nearest hundredth. To find the circumference, we look here and it gives us the diameter. The other circumference formula is pi times d. So we get pi times 13. So our final answer is going to be 13 pi, and we can use inches as our units. And we're supposed to give that to the nearest hundredth. So to the nearest hundredth, 13 times pi gives us 40.84 inches. Find the radius and the diameter. We know what the circumference is. Circumference is 6598. So let's use the formula of 2 pi r. We know we have 6598 equals 2 pi r. We're going to divide by 2 pi. That crosses off. So the radius (6598) divided by, you have to use parentheses here, 2 pi r, and we get 10.5. That's our radius, so we're going to times that by 2 to figure out the diameter. Diameter equals 2 times the radius. So 2 times our 10.5 gives us a value of 21.0. The exact area. Looking for the exact area, there's only one formula that we use for area, and that's pi r squared. We know the radius is 6. So the area is going to be 36 pi. Our units are inches, and whenever it's area, we label those as inches squared. Round our area to the nearest hundredth. So again, we have a radius of 10.5, and we're going to square that. So 10.5 squared is going to give us 110.25. That would be considered your exact answer. They want us to round this to the nearest hundredth, so we're going to take that and times it by pi. And we got 346.36. And those would be considered feet squared. Those are your units, feet. And because it's area, area is known to be by squares. So it would be how many squares could fit inside of this circle, and it would be 346 of those squares could fit inside here. So we call them feet squared because they're not just straight line feet, but there are feet by feet, square feet. Okay, here we have a diameter. Well, if the diameter equals 24.8, I can't calculate the area like that. I need to have the radius. So the radius is going to be 12.4. It's going to be half of the diameter. Now I can calculate the area with pi r squared. So we bring over the calculator and we say 12.4 squared, and that's going to give us an exact answer of 153.76 pi. And they want us to round this to the nearest tenth, so we're going to times that to pi, and we're going to get an area of 483.05. These are centimeters squared. The area of a circle is 173 square inches. Find the radius. Well, the area is pi r squared. They tell you what the topic is about. We want to figure out the radius. Well, the area formula has radius in it. So we're going to say 173 is your area. What is the radius? So we're going to divide by pi. So 173 divided by pi, and we get 55.07. And that's our r squared. Now, to get r all by itself, we're going to take the square root of 55.07. And that'll be our radius. So the square root of our answer, remember, we don't type in 5507. We type in the ANS button so that we're taking the square root of the real value. So here we're going to get 7.42. And here it was inches squared, so these are inches. The area of a circle is 654 square centimeters. Find the diameter. Well, I can't find the diameter. I can find the radius. If I have the radius, I could times it by 2. So you've got to come up with a problem solving how you're going to find the diameter. The area doesn't give you the diameter. It gives you the radius. It uses the radius. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll say 654 equals pi r squared. We don't know what r is. We're going to divide by pi. 654 divided by pi gives us 208.17. That's our radius squared. Then we'll take the square root of this 208.17. But remember, we don't type in 208.17. We type in the answer button, so that we're bringing down this whole 208.17466656 and even more numbers that come after that. So we get 14.43. That's our radius. Well, it asks us to find the diameter. Be sure to answer the question. The diameter is 2 times the radius. So the diameter is going to be 2 times 14.43, which is going to be 28.86, and our units are centimeters. The circumference of a circle, the circumference this time, of a circle is 47.12. Find the area. Well, circumference is the distance around it. Area is the portion that's inside of it. Well, to calculate area, we need to know the radius. So I'm going to use the circumference formula that has an r, has the radius with it. So 47.12 equals 2 pi r. So if I divide by 2 pi, I have to have parentheses around my denominator because I have two things down there. So I'm going to take 47.12 and divide it by 2 pi. You've got to use your parentheses. And you come up with 7.499. So we'd really say that was 7.50. That's the radius. Well, if they want us to find the area of the circle, the area of the circle is pi r squared. Okay. Now I'm not going to type in 7.5. I'm going to use the answer key. So pi times the answer squared. Pi r squared. R was our 7.50. We're not going to type that in because that would be a rounded number. Now we're using the exact number. And that would be the exact area if your circumference was 47.12. If you plugged in other numbers like 7.5, it would have been close but not exact. So we're going to write down 176.69. And the units are centimeters, and we're doing area, so we're talking about centimeters squared. A conveyor belt for a luggage at an airport is shown here below. The outer portion of the belt forms a semicircle. It curves around here. It also curves on the inside, of course. The radius of the inside is 4, but the radius of the outside, that's a bigger circle on the outside. The circle on the inside with the 4 is a smaller circle. Approximate the perimeter of the outer edge of the conveyor belt. So they want us to go down the one side, go around with the big circle, up the other side, and again go around the big circle. A semicircle is half of a circle. It doesn't go all the way around. It just goes half that corner. So we have to find the circumference. If the radius is 8, we have a radius of 8. It's 8 feet. So the circumference is 2 pi r. So our circumference is going to be 2 pi times 8, which is 16 pi. Well, we only want half of that because we're not going all the way around down here. We want half the circumference, so that's going to be 8 pi. So now we're 8 pi over here. We're 20 down this side, and we're 8 pi on this semicircle also. So we're going to say 8 pi plus 20 plus 8 pi plus 20. Our like terms, this is our perimeter. Our like terms are going to be 40 plus 16 pi. That's the best we could do for an exact answer. You cannot add the 40 and the 16 together. But we could say 40 plus 16 pi with your calculator, and that'll come up to be 90.27. And these units are all in feet. On our second page, we're going to find the area of the shaded region. We look at this circle for number 10, and we notice that we have a circle. All of these, they're called sectors, but they're like pizza slices. They're all the same size. We know that because of the tick marks that are shown out here on each little arc. We want to know what 3 of them are. First of all, let's find out what one of them is, and then we can times that by 3. So if I knew what the area was, pi r squared, my radius is 13, so that's going to be 169 pi. Well, if I take our 169 pi, I can come up with 530.93. Now that's the whole circle. So we need to divide that by 8 equal pieces because there's 8 sectors in here. So 530.93 divided by 8. Again, don't retype it. Just use your exact answer so it uses the ANS. So we get 66.37. And then that's one of those pizza slices. Now we need 3 of them, so we're going to times that by 3. And that gives us 199.10. Sure that doesn't look like a decimal point. 199.10 inches squared, because we're talking about area. Number 11. We have a big circle and we have a little circle. The little circle has a radius of 9. The bigger circle is 2.5 farther than that. So it's actually 9 plus 2.5, which is 11.5. So we're going to take the area of the big circle and drill out the center. So that's going to give us this donut shape. So we're going to take the area, pi r squared, of the big circle, and then we're going to subtract the area of the smaller circle. So we're going to say pi 11.5 squared pi times 11.5 squared, that gives us 415.48. That's our big circle. Now what we're going to do is find out the area of the smaller circle. So that's going to be 81 pi. So we're going to take the large circle minus the small circle. So take that minus the 81 pi. And that's going to give us 161.01. So let's do another approximation in here. Trying to get how to show my work. I'm taking the 415.48 and I'm subtracting the 254.47. That's 254.47. And when I subtract that, I get about 161.01. The units are meters, and it's area, so it would be squared. Here we have a big circle. Its radius is 6. Now we're going to look at this little circle, which we want to find the area of. Its diameter would be 6. So its radius is going to be 3. So I'm going to find the area, pi r squared, of a shape that has 3 for a radius. So the exact answer would be 9 pi. So we can take our calculator and say 9 pi, that comes up to 28/27. And that's not listed, so we would say units squared. Number 13, write the standard equation of a circle with the center. Our center is our HK, and the diameter is 12. So if D equals 12, the radius has to be 6. So the way we're going to do that is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So that's our standard form of a circle. So x minus, our h is a -1, our k is a 3, and 6 is our radius. So our final answer is going to be x plus 1, because minus a negative makes a positive. Y minus 3 equals 36. Write the standard equation of a circle. So this is our HK, and this is our radius of 3.5. So we're going to take x minus h plus y minus 5, and that'll be our 3.5 squared. So that's x squared plus y minus 5. Gotta get a square symbol there. 3.5 squared comes out to be 1225. Write the standard equation of a circle that has a center, which is our HK, and a point that is on the circle, which is our XY. What we don't know looking at this, we don't know what the radius is. If we make a quick sketch, we're going to have a center at 4, -8. We also have a point at 6, -2. So it would be something like that. We can't measure that distance that's across there because it's diagonal. If it was horizontal or vertical, we could just count. But since it's diagonal, we have to use either the distance formula or the circle formula. So since the circle formula is just like the distance, let's use that. Our equation, remember, is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. If this is our x, we're going to say 6 minus our h, which is 4, -2 minus a -8, and we still don't know our radius. So this becomes 2 squared, -2 plus 8 squared. So we have 4 plus, this is 6 squared, which is 36. So we're going to say the r squared is 40. If the r squared is 40, then our final equation is x minus 4 quantity squared plus y plus 8, because it's minus a negative, squared, equals 40. Number 16, find the center, the exact radius, and the exact diameter. So our center, remember, is HK. So the center is going to be exactly at 7, 2. r squared is 45. So r is going to be the square root of 45. So another way to write that is 9 times 5, that's 45, which is the square root of 9 is 3 root 5. So the diameter is going to be 2 times the radius. 2 times 3 square root 5 is 6 root 5. You don't multiply the 2 to the 5 because the 5 is a square root. Those are unlike terms. It's kind of like 3x. 2 times 3x. So it's 6x, or in this case, 6 root 5. Write an equation of a circle with endpoints of the diameter. So I like to draw a picture of -5, 2 and 1, 4. So that's the end of my diameter. I'm looking for the circle that goes around there. So what do I need to know to write an equation for a circle? I need to know a center point, and I need to know the radius. Center point and the length of the radius. So the center is going to be the midpoint of my diameter. My midpoint formula is right there. So this is our x1, y1, x2, y2, and I plug in some values. So -5 plus 1 squared, comma 2 plus 4 squared. That's going to come out to be -4 over 2 and 6 over 2. So my center is going to be located at -2, 3. -2, 3. And that looks reasonable. That could be the center of the circle. I also now need to know the radius. So I'm going to have to do the same magic I did up with number 15 in this question. So we're going to start out with our equation. Don't have a lot of room to write this. So we're going to say x. We can pick either point that we want. We know both of those points are on the circle. So we're going to use the 1 minus our center. This is our HK. So we're going to say minus -2 quantity squared plus the y minus the k equals our radius squared. So this is going to come out to be 1 plus 2, so that's 3 squared. 4 minus 3, which is 1 squared. So this gives us 9 plus 1, which is a value of 10. Our r squared is a value of 10. So our final equation is going to be x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 10. That had a lot to it. First, you were given the endpoints of the diameter. You have to find the midpoint. Once you find that midpoint, then we can use either point to help us solve for what the radius would be. These last two questions, we're supposed to graph the equation. With this problem, we know that our HK is going to be a -3 and a +1. Remember, it's always opposite of what's there. And the radius squared is 9, so the radius is 3. So we have the center at -3, 1 with a radius of 3. So we go up 3 to to the left 3, down 3, to the right 3. And that would be our circle that matches that equation. Last question. We're going to write the standard form of our equation. When we do that, we need to know a center point, and we also need to know the radius. Every time you write an equation of a circle, you need to know the center and the radius. So the center is located at negative 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4, 6. Negative 4, positive 6. That's the center. With the radius of 4. So now we have our information. We can take our standard form of the equation. I'll write it for you one last time. So we don't have to worry about finding r because we know what r is. R is 4. So we can just plug in x minus a negative 4 for the h, y minus the k is a 6, and the radius is 4. So that leaves us with our final answer of x plus 4 quantity squared and y minus 6 quantity squared equals 16. Good luck on the quiz.